And welcome. You are listening to and watching the Financial Survival Network. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz. Well, it's hard to believe that in a little bit more than a month, Freedom Fest is coming up in Vegas. If you haven't made your plans yet, you really should. July 10th to the 13th at Caesars Forum. And you can go to freedomfest.com and buy tickets. If you send me an email, kl@kerrylutz.com, and enough of you contact me, I'll do a little meetup there after the day's festivities. In the meantime, Mark Skousen is here. Mark, how many Freedom Fests is this one going to make?
Well, that's a good question. We actually became a for-profit event in 2007. So we're up for a good, 17, 18 years.
That in itself is remarkable. We've been through pandemics, we've been through financial panics, and people keep coming. And in my opinion, now it looks like to the libertarian cause, we're getting a whole new group of people, a lot of people who kind of bought into the left-right Republican, Democrat paradigm are kind of rejecting it now. And I think this is going to be a really big growth season the next few years for Freedom Fest and for libertarianism in general.
There's a great deal of excitement because not only are we seeing a rejection of the Biden agenda, which has been very authoritarian and use of executive orders and clamp down on all in the name of climate control and all of these kinds of things. I think that the election of Javier Miele is a great sign that people are fed up. Certainly the Argentine people were fed up, and in fact, there's an interesting book out called Superabundance. It's written by Marion Tupy and Gail Pooley. The book was published by Cato Institute, and it's going to win the Leonard E. Read This Book Award.
Oh, wow.
At Freedom Fest. And they point out that virtually almost every major country has seen improvements over the last 100 years in terms of time prices. That is, the amount of what you're being paid and how much goods and services cost based on your wages. Everybody has improved in the last 100 years. And the big exception is Argentina. And so that's why people are fed up. They said, we've got to try a different method, a different road to prosperity, because socialism and central planning is not working. And we need a different, and that's why Milei was popularly elected, especially by the young people. One thing that's really great about Milei is that he was elected democratically, not through a coup. Democratically, he won the majority of the vote, and he's making serious erosions into the size and power of government. And he was when we did a poll by our attendees, we said, who would you like to hear? Milei was the number one choice, ahead of Elon Musk and ahead of Donald Trump.
Wow.
And that's who we have as our keynote speaker at Freedom Fest. And he himself said, I want to speak at Freedom Fest. He knew all about us. He knew that we're the world's largest libertarian conference, and we're a quality conference. We're not lewd and rude, and we put on a very civil type of discussion. And people need to realize that libertarians can be. They're not running around making crazy things and insulting their guests and so forth. We're here to make a big difference in quality education and networking.
Okay. And, having been to, I think, 10 of them, or maybe 9, I missed a couple due to the pandemic, family obligations, but I can say it's the class conference of the space. And, everybody is treated with respect. Everybody is really just, I don't want to say it's a love fest, but it's really just a place where you get together, you hear what people have to say, and it's not just, one particular strain or whatever. We're talking before the call. You always say that libertarianism, it's like herding cats, but watching the libertarian conference there for the party conference for the presidential nomination, I think it's like trying to herd rats.
I thought that was a pretty good line. Of course, rats are pretty sinister. I don't know if cats are kind of innocent, but rats are rather sinister, and but they are sending the wrong message out there, in my opinion. And so we wanted, and our Freedom Fest conference is a the reason it's a first class event is we take an entire year to organize it. Valerie Durham, our conference director, and all the staff that we have really spend hundreds of hours, if not thousands of hours, making sure we have a great program, that we have lots of debates, that we have celebrities. We make sure we have speakers who just don't appear at other conferences. And you look in the past, we've had William Shatner, we've had George Foreman, we've had Kevin O'Leary of Shark Tank,
Sure.
we've had John Cleese, the comedian. Last year we had Mike Rowe of Dirty Jobs. And
Hmm.
these are people who never show up at other events. And so people can expect, and often expect, a unique group of keynote speakers. And we have Miele this year. We also have Steven Pinker, the Harvard professor, who's written
Sure.
Enlightenment Now, where he's probably America's #1 public intellectual. We have from the UK, Matt Ridley for the first time coming. And we have a couple of actors. We have Ice-T, who's been on Law and
Yeah.
Order more than any other actor. He's a really interesting guy. And then we have Rob Snyder, the actor, comedian,
Sure.
director, who's coming as well. So I mean, it really is fun. And with our financial conference and our Anthem Film Festival, I mean, we just have so much going on. It's so exciting. We're expecting several thousand people gathering in Las Vegas, July 10th through the 13th. And we have this new facility called the Caesars Forum Convention Center, which is actually right across the street from Caesar's Palace.
Hmm.
And we're just really excited about the entire event.
Oh, I'm excited to be there for sure. I can't wait to see Javier Miele. I mean, and hey, we might see some surprises there, huh?
Well, I look at what he did at Davos and the World Economic Forum, as well as the Milken Conference and CPAC and so forth. He has given these speeches before, but he came in and just gave a speech and then left. And that's not what's happening at Freedom Fest. He's going to be there. We're going to take Q&A from the
Yeah. Uh, Locked up.
and it's
Yeah.
it's just going to be very exciting. The electricity is going to be really something at this year's Freedom Fest.
Yeah. Well, I have friends coming from all over the place, from Canada, from, you know, countries in Europe. I mean, they're really coming from all over this time to see him and, to join in the festivities here.
Yeah, and we have as our theme a Brave New World, taken from Aldous Huxley's book Brave New World, and we're
Hmm.
encouraging people to read that because it really is symbol. I mean, what's going on in the world culturally, and the drug use, and just
Yeah.
the transgender movement. There's just so many things that are happening that are really a brave new world, and some to a large extent, it's very scary. So, but we're solution oriented. We're not the type at Freedom Fest to just wring our hands and stuff. We're very solution oriented. We try to avoid the left right. Divisive labeling and so on, and just look for best solutions. What are the best solutions to our problems? And that's what we want to focus on rather than who's right. We want to talk about what is right.
Yeah. No, hey, for me, it's really sad the past 2 years that I haven't been able to make it, and reservations are set. Again, if any of you are going to be out there, please send me an email, kl@kerrylutz.com. So I'll see if we got enough people. I'll do a little meetup there at the bar, the hotel, or someplace nearby. And all right, so best way to sign up is to go to the site, right?
That's correct. Go to freedomfest.com, and you can also email if you have any questions at Haley at freedomfest.com. That's Hayley, Haley at freedomfest.com. She will answer any of your questions if you have them. But go to the site freedomfest.com. In fact, this next week we're going to be posting our full schedule of speakers and topics. And when that happens, we get a huge, huge response. I should also mention that my wife, Joanne, on the Anthem Film Festival has just posted all of her lineup of, I think there's like 20 different films that she has, shorts,
Oh, wow.
narratives, and so forth. And
I had
so
no
that's at
idea.
the anthemfilmfestival.com. That gives you all of the list of
Hmm.
and she gets a huge response. It's really exciting to see all the people that want to see these various libertarian films. And so yeah, it's really going to be quite a festive event. You know, when you walk into the exhibit hall, and we have a big exhibit hall with over 150 different exhibitors, financial people, think tanks, freedom organizations. We have a big Freedom Fest, book store.
Hmm.
C-SPAN will be there interviewing people. We're going to have major media coverage because the other thing we're having is a presidential debate. This is a true presidential debate, not this phony one that CNN is doing with just two people and no audience, no public audience there. And of course, we are going to have a very respectful audience listening to it. We've invited all members of the presidential candidates, including third parties, including the Republicans and Democrats. We've invited them all. We're getting some good response to the third parties, the independent parties. They are all going to be there. Libertarian candidate will be there.
Oh, very
So
cool.
that's going to be a big event on 7/11. That's July. That's on Thursdays, July 11th in the
All right.
evening. That'll be the event there. But we have, by the way, we have uh, for the first time the governor of Nevada, Joe Lombardo, is going to
Oh,
come and
great.
welcome us, and that's a first because in the past we've had some Democrats and stuff who just basically wanted to shut us down rather
And they
than
did.
greet us. And they did shut us down. Although I will say that during the pandemic, we did have a couple of events. They were smaller events, but we did do them. We were not going to let them completely destroy our freedom of assembly in the so-called libertarian city of Las Vegas.
Hmm. Hey, it's Las Vegas is just such an appropriate place for this whole thing. Because I mean, you've putting aside the politics, it's basically libertarianism run amok in Las Vegas. Anything you want to do, as long as you're not hurting somebody else, basically you can do there, right?
Well, and but what we really like about Las Vegas is that yes, there's the old Las Vegas that's still there, the gambling, the strip shows, and all of this kind of stuff. But there's first class entertainment, first class
Hmm.
hotels, first class. Uh, they have museums, they have stores to buy things. They have all kinds of events going on there that
Hmm.
we think are that have upgraded the old
Definitely.
Las Vegas to the new Las Vegas. And frankly, with the Sphere and the sports teams that are coming in and stuff, Las Vegas is moving into a new era, and it really is something to behold. I'm really impressed with everything that's going on there, except maybe the transportation system that could
Well,
improve.
but even that, you got Musk with the Las Vegas Loop, who privately is going to build a transit system for Las Vegas, right?
Yeah,
Underground. Uh, Already there's 5 or 6 tunnels. Some of them have been completed, not yet ready to open, but within 10 years, It'll have a completely new transit system running subterranean. We don't know if it's going to work yet. Right now, they have manned cars and they only hold 5 or 6 people, but vans are coming and they're going to be self-driving at some point, conceivably. So, really, Vegas is kind of ahead of the curve for all of this. What's going on?
Yeah, and Las Vegas is also great because I mean we now have our Freedom Fest in other cities. We've been in South Dakota. We were in Memphis last year, and we'll be in another city next year. Every other year we are back in Las Vegas, and but Las Vegas we found in comparing it to all the other cities, it has the lowest price hotels, lots to choose
Hmm.
from. They have evening entertainment that can't be beat, and it's easy. It's relatively inexpensive to get there.
Yes.
All these flights into Las Vegas and so on, but it is filling up, and I urge everybody who's listening to start signing up right now because it's possible we could sell out this year with Malay coming and some of our other big
Sure.
name speakers. So
I wouldn't
Tom
be
Woods is
surprised.
coming also. Tom Woods in his famous
Oh,
podcast and stuff. He hasn't
great.
been for a long time, so he's coming in for that. So we have and we have Reason. We have people from Cato. The Students for Liberty. We have all the freedom organizations coming in. What's really great about the exhibit hall is you walk, the buzz is incredible, and you walk in there. It's a one-stop shopping for liberty, is what I call it, because all the
Hmm.
organizations are there. They're telling you what they're doing.
Hmm.
This is the place to meet everybody.
All right. Well, hey, we can hardly wait. Again, if you haven't signed up, go over to freedomfest.com. The dates are July 10th through the 13th, and you can get your tickets there. Even Ice-T going to be there. I can't imagine, you know, interesting guy. I want to see what he's going to have to say. And of course, the standard Steve Forbes, been there forever, and so many
Yeah,
others.
yeah.
Uh,
John Mackey, by the way, is going to be there, and he has just written a wonderful a story, his life story called "The Whole Story," and
ah,
he's going to be there. We're going to have hopefully an autograph session, but the books will be there and so forth. So there's going to be a lot of people there, and of course, Kennedy from
yes.
Fox News is our MC again. She's wonderful. We've been so pleased with her that she's
Oh,
back for
she's
the
great.
third or fourth time.
Hey, I'd love to see Gutfield there. He sounds like he's really a closet libertarian, you know?
Yeah, he is. And in fact, he did come 6 or 7 years ago. We had Gutfeld when he was just getting started and stuff. He's another one that we may want to bring back. And he's pretty funny, pretty clever. He's a great way of talking about the news, that's for sure.
Hey, one final thing. We're in silly season, election season, and and not to get into the politics, but one of the admin's crowning achievements is ever higher stock prices. Just explain to us from your standpoint as an economist why this is not so wonderful news.
Well, the stock market is close to all-time highs, and of course, that's in nominal terms. If you take inflation into account, it's actually just about equal to what it was in 2021, 3 years ago. But it is hitting all-time highs. There's no question about that. I think it's a combination of two factors that haven't been considered. One is gridlock, the negative, really bad stuff. A lot of the bad stuff has been kept from happening because you have a mixed government and you have Republicans running the House. So
Mhm.
I think that makes a difference. And also, you have to remember that the Trump tax cuts are still in place in large measure, especially the corporate tax rate down to 21%. That has not been reversed. And I think that's very been positive for business. And you have to remember the Federal Reserve is also very much involved in trying to reduce the inflation that they started. So you do have a lot of factors that are positive going on there. So I wouldn't just say it's this is a Biden rally. I don't think that's necessarily the case.
All right, but in terms of like deficit spending here, the budget, it's out of control. This thing isn't sustainable, is it?
That's correct. And so we are actually we're going to have a whole financial conference, and our big focus will be on what's the future that's going on. The market has been strong up until now, but with the Fed imposing a very tight money policy after a very loose money policy is going to create a boom bust cycle. So we have a number of people, including myself, thinking we're entering a period of slowdown, if not actual recession. And so you could have a real bumpy ride here in the stock market as we enter the November elections.
Yeah, you don't have to be an Austrian economist to see what this cycle of higher and lower rates, tight money, loose money, what it creates. It's kind of obvious. You just have to go back and look at the chart, and it explains everything, right?
Yeah, and we also are going to have some emphasis on the new commodity boom that's happening in gold and silver and uranium and copper and
Hmm.
all of these different areas. It's not a stock market; it's a market of stocks, and there are different sectors that do better than others. So that's what we're going to focus on at the financial conference. And how do you make money when we've entered an era of permanent inflation? We're not ever ending inflation. It's permanently inflationary is our economy since World War II because we went off the gold standard
Yeah.
primarily. And so between volatility and permanent inflation, how do you manage that? That's what our focus is going to be on at our global financial conference.
Hey, and just to tie that into the narrative that the government's been pushing, and I use government, that's neutral, nothing political as far as the parties go. But first, inflation was transitory, if you remember. Now they're saying it's sticky. You and I agree it's basically permanent unless there's a major change in the way we do business in this country.
Yeah, and the only thing that'll get us back to sound money is if we do have a financial crisis, and that forces us to go back to some kind of a gold standard that Steve Forbes and others have been focusing on. So I don't have a lot of faith in what's happening, that we are going to come to some real solutions. But again, what's happening in Argentina can give us hope. So it'll be really
Yeah.
interesting to see how that plays out.
Hey, as a wise man once said, never let a crisis go to waste, right?
For sure, for sure.
All right. Hey, it's been great catching up with you. I will see you in Vegas. Um, freedomfest.com. Go there, order your tickets July 10th through 13th. There's tons of cheap hotels available. Just go to Priceline or any of those apps. Priceline, I find to have the best rates, but you could go to Hotwire, any of them really. You'll
Yeah,
see
and we've
good
we've
hotels.
also uh, we've also arranged special rates. If you go to freedomfest.com under the hotels, you'll see I think the Lutz is the cheapest that we have there for us. But
Oh, great.
I'm sorry, the links, not the
The link,
Lutz. I was
right? That's
thinking of
right
your
there.
your last name instead of the
Yeah,
links. Yeah, it's
it's
the
across the
links
street.
that
Right
has
across the street.
the
Yeah.
lowest price and so forth. So check that out at freedomfest.com.
Great. Hey, Mark, been a pleasure. You've got a question for Mark and myself. Email address kl@kerrylutz.com. If you're going to be at Freedom Fest, please email me. We'll connect on a group chat or something. And the link to Freedom Fest is in the show notes of this interview on financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Please sign up for your free newsletter. Mark, we'll see you in a few weeks.
Okay, thanks, Kerry. Take care.